instead of sunny. Looking back, it was all needed. The problems, the pain, the trauma, the grieving. You are now tuned in to the Prisoner to Painter. Prisoner to Painter. Hard work, dedication, rainy days, inspiration, Prisoner to Painter. And now, a word from your local dealer.
Welcome to the Prisoner to Painter Podcast. I'm Nathan McDermott.
And I'm Katie McDermott.
And today joining us is James Heath. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing phenomenal. Thank you for dealing with our beginning hiccups. I appreciate that. Yeah.
No problem at all.
Man, it's funny now. I say, man, I don't know how to start off the podcast. It never works out smoothly. Now that just kind of becomes something I say at the beginning. So maybe that's how we transition into. What was your family dynamic like growing up, and where were you born and raised?
Okay, so I was actually born in Monroe, Georgia. I don't remember much of any of that because I was a baby. I don't remember how old I was when my family moved to Ohio. But originally my mother's parents, my grandparents were from Georgia. My father's parents were from Ohio. So Ohio was, I guess, the overall pick of where we moved to. But that's where I was born, but I was pretty much raised in Menford, Ohio.
Okay.
Little small country area, like a little, I guess kind of like a little hick town, honestly.
Yeah.
But I wasn't much there. You had the school, you had a couple gas stations, nothing big.
All right. Do you have any brothers, sisters, anything like that?
Yeah, so I have a younger sister. She is actually 29, and then I have a half brother. He is 13, but growing up, it was just me and my sister. My half brother came, clearly much later. But yeah, me and my sister, we two peas in a pod, I guess.
Right on, man. Awesome. Who was the most influential person in your life growing up?
Okay, so growing up, I would honestly say the most influential person in my life was probably my uncle, because he was always in sports. He did full contact sports. Like he was in football first, but then he did like boxing. I always watched him in tough man contests and stuff.
Okay.
But I always liked like full contact sports. I loved boxing, UFC, stuff like that. So we would always kind of just talk about those things. But then also he was just a lot like me. Me and my dad are a lot alike too, but in different senses, father and son, so, but my uncle was just kind of that guy I'd go to and be like, well, this happened at school today,
Yeah.
So I'd say he was probably my influence growing up was him when I was younger.
Awesome, man. What was the best piece of advice he ever gave you?
Literally probably the best piece of advice he gave me is he said, you have to be tough. He said, said, the world will try to absolutely beat you down. He said, but you just have to push through it. He said, even when you feel like you're losing, you're still winning if you're trying.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Now that's the best piece right there.
Okay, so not necessarily from him. What is the worst piece of advice you have ever received?
Just go with it.
Okay.
I've been in situations to where the answer was very clear of what we needed to do, and I'll just go with it. I'm like, nah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't honestly say that might have been the worst piece of advice I ever got. I know I'll tell you the worst piece of advice I ever got, actually, and this refers back to because I heard this when I was younger, but then also I've heard people around my area say this about their kids. Like, we've had events where we've give out Bibles and stuff to everybody, and we'd have prayer, and we'll talk to people about their kids. And this is actually a piece of advice that I got when I was younger. They told me to find God. They said to take your time with it to find him. And I was like, okay. When I was younger, I listened to that, but when I'm older, I'm like, oh, we should probably find him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Finding him sooner than later is much better.
Yeah.
I'd say that was probably the worst piece I got.
I like your take on it. That's the worst advice. I like your take on it. No. We don't need to wait. We need it right now. I like
definitely.
Yeah. Man.
Absolutely.
What was your favorite cereal growing up?
Okay. I'm going to definitely have to say it was Captain Crunch. It was a toss-up. It was either Captain Crunch or Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp.
Cookie Crisp in yogurt.
Haven't tried that, but
My goodness.
Dude, game
So
changer.
good.
Game changer. Yeah.
I always like the crazy combinations people come up with because you'll see something on a reel or something that people's post. You're like, that's disgusting. And then you try it, and you're like, okay.
Well, it's cheaper than granola and it's delicious. And I like plain yogurt, but it's also good in vanilla yogurt.
Yeah, those are both good. I like those.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so I'm gonna switch it up because there's always two sides to every story, or not two sides to every story, but there's two sides to every question that we ask here. What is your worst childhood memory?
I was probably 7 years old, and my dad has always had we've always had animals. We grew up, we had hogs, pigs, we had horses, we had goats, we had dogs, we had cats, we had everything. But my dad really likes snakes. I don't like snakes at all. Still to this day. My wife, hand to the Lord, my wife can pick up a snake, fine.
Yeah.
A garter snake could come out from me, I'm froze. I don't like snakes. I don't know. And it goes back to my childhood fear. My father brought home he had exotic pet licenses and stuff when I was younger.
Okay.
He had an anaconda. And that was the scariest thing I think as a kid that I had seen.
Mm-hmm.
He put that, he told us to come outside on the porch, and it was stretched from one side to the other. And I just froze. That's what I do every time I see a snake. I just freeze.
Yeah.
That was probably
funny.
my worst childhood memory.
It's funny you say that because we'll be working in the yard and he'll scream and go running, and then I run towards what he's screaming at. And I'm like, it's just a baby.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Oh, that baby has me crying. So
Yeah. Dude, it's the devil's creature. Okay, it is a serpent. That thing is the devil's creature. I tell her that all the those things are.
All creatures are from God. Thank you.
Man, I don't know. Not that. Okay, I guess maybe, but that one's pushing it. Okay, that one's pushing it. Jeez.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, dude.
Definitely.
It's funny. These podcasts, we if I haven't learned anything else from what we've learned from this, is that I can interview people all around the world. There's black, Asian, white, no matter what you are. I can find similarities with every single person we've interviewed, some more than others. I just find this very funny and relatable, and I love this. I'm the same as you. My wife is the same as your wife. Like, that is funny.
Yeah.
That's funny, man. What's your favorite childhood memory?
I think, and the thing is my favorite childhood memory, and I don't exactly know why it is, but I go back to a living room at my grandma's house, and I don't know if your guys' grandma had this. Does everyone remember like the floral orange couches?
Floral, everything sometimes.
1970s couch.
Yeah.
Some people's grandma had them in plastic. Other people's grandmas, they were just there.
Yes, that, and then like she had like that real thick orange shag carpet in the living room.
Yeah.
So I go back to watching that big giant box floor model TV sitting on the floor with the two antennas up. And so when I was a kid, like I remember some of the old cartoons like Little Lulu. I remember watching Little Lulu on that TV.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I was actually talking to my wife. This is crazy because I was talking to my wife about this last night. I seen a reel on Facebook, and it was about early 1990s and then like early 2000s, which is the time I grew up. And I'm like, I started crying. I won't even lie, man. I'm a grown man. I started crying. I said, I really miss the days of being able to just be calm and happy. So I would say childhood memory, my grandmother's living room, big box TV.
That's funny you bring up Little Lulu because I just thought of that the other day, and I was like, I thought it was a fever dream because like there's no representation of it anywhere, but I distinctly remember it. And I was like, I gotta figure out what that is. And then I was like, oh my gosh, the floodgates opened.
Yeah. Because Little Lulu would play, then Popeye come on right after.
Yep.
Man. So growing up, you said Georgia, but mainly Ohio. How long did you stay in Georgia until you moved up and stayed in Ohio not permanently, but whatever?
I was a baby. I don't know exactly from my understandings. Now I don't remember everything. 'Cause see, like my grandmother, my grandfather's dead. My mother's dead. My father's alive, but he wasn't in the picture when we moved there. So he might know. I don't know. But from my understandings, I was literally like 2, 3 weeks old when we moved from Georgia to here. So I'm pretty much an Ohio baby. So I've been here my whole life. But I grew up. I grew up in the sticks everywhere I lived, and including now, like where I live now, the home that I own now. I live out in the middle of the woods.
Mm-hmm.
That's another way to live, man. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Well, where did you go to school at?
I went to school. So I went to mostly Memphis school, but there was a small stretch for a year that I went to Lucasville Northwest, but then I had went to Jackson. Jackson was probably my favorite school out of every school I had ever been to in Ohio. Jackson County, Ohio. Jackson High School. They had a phenomenal football team. The academics were great. They had the teachers were actually really solid teachers. Like they actually cared for the students. We had an awesome professional NFL football field up there.
Wow.
So professional turf, that was pretty cool. Wrestling team, they had everything. Division III high school, man. Like just overall great school. I learned a lot more in my Spanish courses there than I did at Memphis. So though I don't remember much of it.
Who was your favorite teacher, and what was your favorite subject?
My favorite teacher will always and forever be Miss Jenkins. Shout out Miss Jenkins from Memphis Elementary School, Memphis Middle School. I love you, and I hope you're doing well. She is just the greatest teacher. So you have teachers, and then you have teachers.
Mm-hmm.
You have the teachers that just come to do their job, and then you have teachers that generally want to know how your weekend went and what you're doing after school.
Yeah.
That was her. You know, I could sit there and talk to her. There were times that I brought my lunch from the lunchroom to her room to just sit there and eat with her.
Mm-hmm.
But Miss Jenkins was probably absolutely my favorite. My favorite subject in school. Absolutely could not stand math, could not stand English, but for some reason I really loved science. Especially when I got into like 6th grade, 7th grade, where we could start, we was able to dissect things. We was able to mix things, make volcanoes and stuff, learn what not to mix together, don't spray this and that in your home at the same time and create mustard gas.
Yeah.
So I really liked science a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. What was your favorite TV show?
That's a tough one. So an all-time of all the TV shows I've ever watched, I was really, really obsessed with Swamp People. I don't know. There's something about that. No, actually, Swamp People's a good one, but I would say overall, I'm gonna get laughed at for this one. But Special Victims Unit, SVU.
I love
That's
it.
probably-
I love it. I love
yeah.
it. Yeah, dude. Yes. If
Olivia Benson and
Yeah.
Elliot Stabler are household names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's not Christopher Maloney, right?
It is
He's
Elliot
Stabler.
Stabler.
Yeah.
Anything
Fun fact about both of them, I didn't know that her name was Mariska Hargitay
Mhm.
until I watched The Love Guru.
Yes.
No kidding.
Yes. Yes.
I didn't know she's ever been in anything else besides that. So
I had no idea. So I was like, he really said her name
He
in
did.
the movie.
yeah.
He did, and that's like it's the funniest cameo ever because it's like
Yeah. My wife still to this day has not seen The Love Guru and or Soul Plane, and I was like, man, those were movies from when I was younger, and I was like, Soul Plane's not the greatest. I mean, you know what I mean? It's more on the rated R side,
Yeah.
but the Love Guru, really goofy,
Yeah.
really goofy. Mike Myers is just something else.
He is a comedy legend.
he is a comedy legend.
Yeah.
Wayne's World,
Yeah.
anything
Yeah.
SNL, Austin Powers, all of that.
Oh yeah, she's
Oh,
never seen
very
Austin
neat.
Powers either.
Huh? She's
My
never
My
seen
wife's never
Austin
seen Austin
Powers.
Powers. No, she hasn't.
In my opinion, she's not missing much. Okay,
Oh!
Katie loves it. I'm like, she ain't missing much.
I quote
okay?
a Mike Myers quote at least once a day, whether it's from Shrek, from Goldmember, anything. Like It's like a vocal stim. I
It's
say so
unhealthy.
much
Yeah.
stuff.
It's became part of your everyday vocabulary.
It really is.
Oh man, well, hey, well, that's awesome because a teacher like that is just, I mean, that's she clearly impacted you for at least another 20 years, so that's incredible. Did you play any sports or anything?
Yeah, so I played basketball for literally just one season. I didn't like basketball, but I played football when I was in elementary, middle school, high school. I tried track, but it didn't work out for me.
Mhm.
Did not work out for me. But then we had some boxing programs called. It wasn't exactly like the school had boxing, but they had these events called Hooks for Books, and
Okay.
it was like tri-state. I think it was like West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, other places. But I would compete in those boxing matches.
That's cool. Dude,
Yeah.
that's sick, man. Did you ever did you ever win one that like really stands
Oh
out?
yeah, I
Or did
won
you-
plenty, but I lost two of them pretty hard. Like
Okay.
I got knocked out. Yeah.
Wait, like that just seems like it seems nowadays that wouldn't fly. Like a kid knocking out a kid in school. That
Yeah,
just seems,
yeah, no, yeah. Like I don't think they do it at all anymore. But the thing
Gotcha.
is I think that and it was because it was a thing. You had a consent form. Your parents had to sign it. Your parents had to meet the constructor of it and be like, okay, so they agree. You got the headgear, all that good stuff.
Gotcha.
But like, it was much better for kids to get in there frustrated and get into a combat sport and do something that's legal and with protection on
Yeah.
versus how many kids, like I've seen so many fights from elementary to middle school to high school. I've probably seen more fights there than I've actually watched on television ever.
Yeah. Seriously, the most fights I've ever seen was in my going to school years. After that,
Yeah.
you don't really see fights. Like,
No, not unless you see something on TV or on Facebook or somewhere.
yeah. That's funny. I never thought of that.
How old are you?
I am about to be 35 years young.
Okay.
Right on. We're creeping up there behind you, buddy.
Random question. What's your zodiac sign?
Taurus.
Okay.
Right on.
Okay. April Taurus?
May.
Ah. Okay.
Well, happy early birthday.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite food?
Man. My favorite meal of all time. It will never change, honestly. So when it comes to just a meal, country fried steak with white pepper gravy, buttered cornbread, soup beans, soup beans and either mashed potatoes and gravy or fried potatoes, and spinach or collard greens.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
That's my favorite meal of all time. If you add some mac and cheese with some bacon in it.
Before we move on, or go to the next phase, we'll say,
Yep.
Is there anything from childhood or growing up that you want to say that people might not know about you? Something that you coming on the show you might have thought you were going to say and we didn't get to.
Something that's pertinent, you think, to who you are now.
Yeah, actually, I won't give a whole lot of detail on it, but if you ever see this, Zane Russo, I love you and I forgive you. I'm sorry too.
Okay.
Beautiful. Awesome.
So did you do normal school stuff besides sports? Did you do like prom and dances and all those things, or was that not your scene?
Well, funny enough, I went to all the dances, but like when it got to my prom year, I actually got suspended because I was being quite goofy with some friends, got into some stuff that we shouldn't have done, done some just being little hoodlums, little heathens. So I got suspended from the prom. And then I actually didn't graduate. When I didn't do that, so I didn't graduate. I was still 18, but I was dating a girl from Piketon, and she was we were same age, and I was already out. I was out of school because I didn't finish, but she was still in school, and I got to go to prom with her, so I got to go to that prom. It was quite the different experience from the dances, because like all the dances I went to school, every year, like they had the elementary dances, middle school dances, they had high school dances, but the prom was just something like different, you know what I mean? Like I don't really know if it was just because they took all the pictures, there was extra events, there was food and stuff, regular school dances, they didn't really have food, not where I went anyway. They had like some concession stands outside, but you had to eat the stuff out there. You couldn't bring it into the gymnasium.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I did so far. This has been phenomenal. If you could go back in time and have dinner with anybody in history, anybody dead or alive, who would it be, and why?
I'd go back to the day that my mom got murdered, and I would tell her, even though I got to tell her I loved her and I hugged her that night, I would have liked to have sat down and had dinner with her and just maybe have had a conversation. Something I never got to ask my mom that I wish I would have. I wish I would have asked her what her childhood was like. I wish I could have asked her, what could I do to make her adulthood better? Because I know she had a rough childhood growing up. I know she was like poor and stuff, but I want to know, like, what was your imagination like? What did you find fun? These are all the questions I didn't get. I'm sorry, I'm kind of tearing up right now.
No, yeah.
These are all the questions I really wish I could have asked her. But I was too selfish, stuck on myself. I was addicted to drugs when my mom died. I am almost 8 years fully sober now.
Awesome.
So it's she'd be the one I'd go back and have dinner with. I'd go back to her to have dinner with her just so I see if I could change some things. I think if I could go back to that night, I know if I could go back to that night, I could have stopped what happened. I could have having dinner with her would have just made it even better.
So I normally ask. So I asked what your favorite meal was. Is that what you would eat for dinner with your mom, or would you eat something else?
With my mom, we would probably have one of my mom's favorite meals, which was my mom loved meatloaf meal, or no, I tell you what we would have had. We would have had her absolute favorite meal. We would have had some, as she called them, cat head biscuits. My mom made biscuits like this big around. We would have had some good old gravy, good old home skillet cooked gravy in the big iron skillet. We would have had some fresh sausage and bacon and some scrambled eggs without cheese. My mom did not like cheese.
My friend, this is why we do this. That was fucking beautiful. I'm not gonna put word in my mouth. I'm feeling emotions like sad and whatnot, but like that is what I want people to experience when they listen to this podcast. So if nobody else got that from this story so far, you got me. So thank you. Seriously, my mom and me share a very similar story. So God, thank you. Seriously. And I'm sorry to hear about what happened to her. Sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I mean that. I am sorry to hear that. 8 years. That is an incredible feat, my friend. That is.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
It's been a ride,
feat.
man.
Dude, I got 3 coming up on 3 years, and people like you make me know that it's possible. Because if you can do it for 8 years, I can do it for another 5, and then we'll reach.
Hey, listen, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Because listen, I was injecting methamphetamines into my veins, and then I was hitting myself in my neck. I was hitting myself in my arms, my feet. I was hitting my appendage.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the craziest of craziest things, to the point of I sold everything that I owned. My car, I lost my apartment, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Gave up everything. I had at one point went to my mother's house and stole money from my mother, her rent money, out of her purse while she's asleep. And I blamed it on my little 6-year-old stepsister at the time. That's what addiction does to you. And we've gone through this. They know the truth. You know, what forgiveness was there. We hugged it out and everything. But that's what addiction does to you. But if someone like me can do it, man, I promise to God, anyone out there can do it, because I was down bad, man. 130 pounds, soaking wet, skin and bone, just needles day in, day out. So you keep up the good work, dude. Seriously, you got this.
Thank you. I don't want to dwell in that part of a story too long, so we'll get to that, and then I'll ask a little bit about it, and then I clearly want to hear about what now, because that's what I follow on Facebook, and that's like what I'm obsessed with about you, that you're a very unique follower of Christ. So I love that. What was your first job?
My first job ever, I worked in Lucasville. I was 15, and my first like legal job. I was 15. I got my work permit from school, and I worked at a little restaurant called After the Game. They made like pizzas, salads, submarines, appetizers, and they would have karaoke every Thursday or Friday night. They'd have karaoke out there. It was just a cool place, you know, because like it was right there in the middle of Lucasville. So after like football games, basketball games, baseball games, everyone just flooded that place literally. And that's why they called it After the Game. So that was my first job. I worked in the kitchen. They had me doing everything actually. I worked in the kitchen. I cooked food. I was a janitor. I cash register, ran the window, took phone calls.
Okay.
I actually
Yeah,
even
well,
I did deliveries. I didn't even have a license yet.
Hey, that was the perks of growing up when we did, man. Like, it's funny. Side story, real quick. I remember my dad had an account up at the local pizza store. Like they would deliver pizza, and I could charge it, right? Well, I'd order.
Yeah.
There was a gas station next door, so I had to do. Hey, man, if you pick me up like a 24 rack and a pack of smokes, and I pretend to be my dad, and they would charge it, and they'd bring it to me, and I was like, that could only happen back in the 2000s. Okay, that would never.
Oh
fly
yeah,
nowadays.
for sure. Definitely not happening today.
No, not at all, dude. Like, wow. Man. Okay.
So you said you didn't graduate. Is this like while you were in school, or was this after like the schooling era when you got your first job?
First job, I had just turned 15 because I was wanting to work there before then, but I didn't. I had to be 15 years old to get a work permit through my school. 'Cause see, back when I was younger, so today there's like I know 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds that work at Applebee's right now. Right now. I don't know how if work permits are a thing anymore or not. But when I was a kid, you had to get a work permit from your school that you went to, saying that you
I
could
do
work.
believe there's still a thing. They just can't serve alcohol or use knives until they're a certain age.
Something like that.
Okay, yeah, cause see, back when I was there, the only thing that I couldn't serve alcohol or tobacco then either. But I definitely used knives. They had because you're not supposed to use the air or the deep fryers. You're not supposed to use those unless you're 18 years of age.
Yeah.
And I mean, they had me on everything.
Yeah, whatever.
That's what things
You're
are so
18
different back
today.
then, you know.
Man. So, because we only got an hour, so I try to get to what I think is all the big points. So if I'm ever wrong and I miss a big point, please stop me. And like seriously,
Sure.
This is your story, your truth. We're just here to try to pull out what we think is good or right or
Right. Yeah.
Man. So just touching on the addiction. How did it start, and how aggressive did the progression of it go?
Buckle your seatbelt. So how it started. Now this is crazy. Because both of these people are dead. My mother's dead. My ex-best friend is dead. Rusty Smith was his name. Rest in peace. He actually just passed away on us roughly about 3.5, 4 months ago. We kind of fell apart after high school. We retouched base about a year ago, and then he had overdosed on fentanyl. But long story short, how it all started. I just went through a breakup. My child that's on my wrist there had just died. I went through a breakup, and I was kind of losing my mind. Now, take in mind, I had never done drugs. I had never even so much as wanted to, like, I'd smoked some pot or stuff, tried that when I was a kid, but I never did no hard drugs or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So when all that happened, my buddy randomly shows up at my house, and he's there to see my mom. I had no idea what was going on. I was very kind of weirded out. But she gave him a big old black trash bag, and it was full of boxes of pseudoephedrine pills. And because my mom got prescriptions all the time, and she didn't take all of her meds. They would just pile up in the cabinet. She never took none of her stuff. So when she found out that people were in need for that and wanted that, because my friend told her this, take in mind, still to this day, I don't know how they ended up talking to each other about this. I have not the slightest idea. But I know that she had sold him roughly about 100 to 150 boxes of Sudafed. Now, he asked me to drive him to Walmart and then to drive him to his buddy's house out in Clarktown. I said, sure. So I drove him there. He sent me into Walmart to get a list of stuff for him. I had no idea what I was getting. He had me there buying like non-iodized salt, had me buying like a piece of hose for an aquarium. He had me buy one single Powerade, 32-ounce Powerade, like everything that you need for the initial setup of cooking methamphetamines. And I had no idea. I had no idea what was going on. I just knew I was heartbroken. I was with my friend. I was just trying to let time pass. Long story short, fast forward. That night, we ended up in a little shack. He's mixing all these chemicals together. I have no idea what he's doing. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm making dope. I said, what do you mean dope? And he said, I'm making meth. Lost my mind. I'm ready to beat my friend up. I'm freaking out. I'm ready to leave. Can't find my car keys. Come to find out, he had my car keys hid for like a freaking day because he knew I was going to spaz out. But I kind of got stuck. I was sitting outside forever while they were inside doing their thing. Well, it started getting cold, and I was like, I'm just going to go in. Whatever. I knocked on the door. I went inside. All these fumes are going in there, man, and I'm starting to really feel off, like weird. And they get their stuff done, and they get it all cooked up, and they're offering it to me. And I'm like, no. Take in mind, a literal, like, whole day almost had went by, and I didn't know it because of all the fumes that were in the air. And finally, I was talking to him about my son that passed away, and I started crying. He said, I promise you this can make you feel better. And he hands me this piece of aluminum foil. It looked like a little V. It was like a boat, as they called it. And he had a piece of a pen, Bic pen. He had cut the ends off, and he handed it to me. And he said, follow the dragon. I said, what do you mean? I didn't know what these terms meant. He said, when you see the smoke coming up, suck it through the straw and just follow it down to the end. He said, I'll flip it around, do it again, and then tell me how you feel. So I did it. At that point in time, 48 hours went by, and I don't remember much of what actually happened in that time frame. That was years ago, but I ended up doing drugs that way, literally. I had a friend come to my house, bought pills from my mom that I didn't even know, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know what was going on. I was actually kind of weirded out why he was buying a bag full of pills, but I just assumed it was for his mom because she was sick, you know. I didn't know. Yeah. But that's how I got started. And after my mom passed, it took a lot to get me off of it, but I was to the point of I went to jail, got locked up multiple times. I ran from the law. I jumped into the Ohio River in the middle of November. It was cold. It was already snowing, ice everywhere. I had been awake for roughly about 13, 14 days at that time. And I was losing my mind. SWAT team was looking for me. I got myself in trouble. I had caused a big ruckus in the town of McDermott. I had stole some things. I caused a lot of problems. I had actually injected a horse with methamphetamines that went crazy through the town and tore it apart. Did a bunch of stupid stuff, man. Got myself thrown in jail. And it was just a really, really rough time because I had almost died. I did so much that I went septic, and my body was basically just giving out. You know, I'd say that was like the hardest time that I had been through, like, ever. I mean, I was to the point of I was digging in the dumpster to see if I had old needles in there that I threw in there. I don't care to share this because I'm very open. I very recently just got myself completely healed from hepatitis C. I didn't know I had it. I had it for roughly like 15 years, didn't know it. And I just recently, actually in the past 2 weeks, have passed my clearance, passed my screening, and I'm healed of it.
Brother, I just want you to know those smiles you see from me are genuine, and I mean it. That is amazing. That's what this fucking show is about, dude. I invite on these lawyers and these politicians and these judges, and this is what it's for. It's that right there. That's fucking awesome.
I appreciate
that's testimony. Jesus left the other 99 for you, just like he did for me. So that is amazing, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Wow. Wow. Like if you don't do drugs, you don't know how easy it actually can be. Like it can happen that easy. And it's a story doesn't have to be some crazy drug scheme filled like crazy idea. It can be that simple. One friend, one bad decision away. It sucks, but it's truly that easy. Like it really is. Yeah. Yeah, this is one question I've asked every addict or everybody that has had an issue on our show. Do you think addiction is a disease? It is a very loaded question, I know, but I ask it still.
Okay, so this is one of those tricky questions.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to answer it like this. When I first was coming out of my addiction, when I was in rehab and everything, I really did look at it as a disease. I said, this is a disease. But then then after I got sobered up for a few years, I really had to think about it. I had to go back to that very day that my friend picked me up. And I was like, I was sad. I didn't have to take that foil from him for real. I could have walked home. But I didn't. I made the decision to stay. I made the decision to physically hold my hand out and take that foil from him and put it up to my mouth, put that straw in my mouth, and to follow the dragon. So it's weird for me. I can't say that it's either or because I think that it's different for every person. I think that some people actually have mental illnesses to where it plays into that. And some people will be like, oh, that's crazy. It don't make sense. Well, congratulations. You're not everybody. Everyone is their own individual person, So I kind of feel like it's both. I feel like, yes, it's a decision, but I also feel like it's a disease because, like, think about it. What is a disease? It's something that's infectious. Something that's infectious. Drugs are infectious, like very much so. All it takes is a little bit. You could take a little bump and give it to this person in one neighborhood. Then they could take a little bump and give it to this person next door. Then they could give it to the person down the street. By the time you know it, the whole county is on heroin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's both, honestly.
No, it's a damn plague at least. You
ain't kidding a bit.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Well, that is, dude, that's phenomenal. I mean, I really wish for every guest, well, not every guest, but I wish for for you specifically, great stories like this. I know an hour don't do it justice, but we try to get the best, do the best we can. So all that being said, getting sober, getting into rehab, what did the first month of sobriety look like for you? And I asked that because I know some people have the pink cloud, some people have the worst friggin' month of their potential life. It's different for everybody. So
I ended up in a lot of fist fights because I already have, and still to this day, because I admit, like, still to this day, right now, I talk to God about it. I struggle though, as a firm believer in Christ and a follower of God, a follower of Christ, a Christian. I really do struggle, because if someone tells you that they're, that they know God and they don't struggle, they're lying, because it's a struggle. But it's all just kind of plays in together for me. Like, I guess I'm different. Like I look at things in a perspective that I guess some other people might not even understand, but I think it's just the reasoning of, as I said before, everyone's different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, autism is a disease. It's an actual disease, but it's something that there's like 500 different types of autism. You might have one person who's an angry autistic person who gets mad if they can't get something opened. Then you might have one that's nonverbal. But then you might have another person who is, they're always happy and they're super smart. What is the difference there? They're all different. They have different personalities. They have different mindsets. They have a different conscience. But they all have the autism. It'd be the same thing as like diabetics. Like it's weird how I explain things, brother. Because like I explain things in a pattern that's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because it's like diabetics. Diabetes, which I have. Diabetes is a disease. That doesn't mean that every diabetic is going to be the same. Well, this diabetic might be able to have a soda.
Yeah.
This one might completely die if they drink a sip of one.
Yeah.
You know, it all goes hand in hand with being constructually different, but all still created by the same God.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. Man, this is just awesome. So getting out of rehab, life seeming okay. 8 years ago, what was your first job sober?
okay. So my first job getting sober, I was telemarketing for a company called JAK Productions. They used to be all over the United States. I'm pretty sure the company actually is closed now, but I worked for them doing telemarketing. But it was hard for me because in the midst of getting sober, being sober, you know, as we said in the very beginning,
Yeah.
I got in fights a lot. I was angry, you know, and it was because I was not doing the drugs no more. Because when I was doing the drugs, I was either paranoid or just completely obliterated out of my mind. Didn't know what I was doing. So my first job was the telemarketing, and it worked out for a little while, but I and I have ADHD really bad too, so sitting in a cubicle all day just wasn't working for me very well.
Yeah.
It's like I can barely sit still as is. I like to be up doing something, you know what I mean? So I just kind of got to the point I was like, man, I'm sure there's something else I can find. And then I went into I think after that I had went to Walmart, and I was a cart pusher, pushed carts, and then sometimes they had me build bicycles in the back. But those were the first two jobs out of my sobriety that I had.
Right on. Who was the most influential person in early recovery?
In my recovery, rest in peace, Charles. We had a guy that worked at the rehab that I was going to. When I originally started going there, it was called Solace. Now today it's called Ascend. They changed it probably a few months after I left there. But there was a gentleman there. He was an ex-guard at the Lucasville prison down here. And it's crazy because if you don't know much about the Lucasville prison in Ohio, do some research. It's very bad what happened there. And he was there when this big event happened. There was a massacre there. It got shut down. But the reason why I'm giving you this little background on him before I tell you why he means this much to me is because he's this big giant man. I mean, scary looking man. And you would think that once he talked to you, he would just have this rumbling voice. He had a very soft tone, and he was just the kindest man ever. But he was a man. You know, he was in the services and everything. But that man, I could come in having the worst day ever, and he found a way to put a smile on my face. He found a way to talk to me about God. He found a way to make me listen. That was hard because I'm stubborn-headed. He was one of the only people there, aside from my counselor, that could actually just talk to me, and nothing else mattered. I didn't think about drugs. I didn't care about getting high. I wasn't worried about withdrawing. I was in a conversation with Charles. Charles Rogers was his name. I was in a conversation with him. I was good. I was talking to Charlie, you know? And he was just, dude, he would tell me stories about his childhood, but the way that he would explain them, it was like he was painting a picture with his words. And I could just see it clear as day. But I felt the humbleness, and that he would get teary-eyed. You'd hear it in his voice when he talked about his mom and his dad. And I was like, and it wasn't a sense of envy or jealousy I got. It was like, I wish I could have that. I wish I could have had that with my parents. What would that have been like? You know, what would that have been like? So in my recovery, he was absolutely the one that he'd be the one, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What was the hardest part of early stage sobriety for you?
The hardest part was not getting in trouble again, because I was on probation, parole. I was trying not to get locked back up. And, you know, my parole officer was very, very, very strict. And he was set in his ways. He's from Korea. And so people in Korea are very, when it comes to military, police, man, they are strict. Strict. And he was the same way. And because he mentioned, he's like, you know, he's like, I work a lot like I did from where I'm from. He said, we don't take no BS. And I was like,
Yeah.
I got it. The hardest part was to not get in trouble. Like I was on a curfew, wasn't allowed out past 9 o'clock, and which sucked because all my friends at that point in time didn't wake up until 6, 7 in the evening, and then they stay up till 3 or 4, 5 in the morning. And I
Well,
wasn't allowed
nine
to go
o'clock's
anywhere.
kind of absurd, anyways. Okay, like mine was 11. 9 o'clock's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Let's be real.
they had me at
Okay.
9 o'clock, man. I wasn't allowed to be around guns, and at the time, me and my ex-wife had lived with her grandparents, and her grandfather was a retired Army member, and he had like Purple Hearts and stars and stuff for badges and stuff from the Army, and he had all kinds of guns, and it was just crazy because I woke up at, I cannot make this up. I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning to my parole officer standing over top of me with a flashlight in my face, and my bedroom, and I just had my newborn son, and he said, James, he said, we're here to do a check, and I was like, what? I was trying to register who he even was. I was like, what is going on? And then I look up, and his partner is holding my newborn son, and I kind of lost my mind because I was like, I kind of want to jump out of here and just start beating on both of you guys,
Yeah.
because now that I realize who you are, I know that you're here legally because I'm on probation, parole, but I'm like, you're holding my newborn son.
Yeah.
I don't know where your hand. I don't know nothing about you. I mean,
Yeah.
but the hardest part was dealing with my parole officer. That was the hardest part.
Okay. What was the easiest part?
Sounds like you had a rough one too, though.
The easiest part was putting on weight and eating because I didn't have an appetite before. The easiest part was actually enjoying food again, because like I started to eat and enjoy cooking and making food, and like now my wife is the cook. My wife is a phenomenal cook, but like it was. I can honestly say the best part. That's just being real. The best part of it was being able to eat again because I ate the bare necessity to stay alive. That's all I did. So,
Yeah.
and I love food. So
Yeah, I get that.
the best part of getting sober, honestly, all the way around. I wish that I could say that my mom, because my mom was passing on, but getting fully sober, my wife, it saved our marriage. And that's big to me because I love my wife and I love my daughter. So I virtually love God more than both of them because wouldn't have them at all without him. So that's just facts, regardless of what I go through, how bad my day is, I have to love him above all anyone. Right under him is my daughter because she's my child. Then it's my wife.
Yeah.
Some people have looked at me crazy and said for that, like, you love God, your daughter, then your wife in order. Yeah, that's how it works for me. Not saying that like if I had the choice to give my life for either one of them, I would. I wouldn't do that, but it's just the point of I'm a lot different. I went through a lot of bad things growing up, and then I realized that things are just different, and sometimes you have to really just take a breath, and you just really have to stop thinking about yourself and think about what everyone else around you that cares about you wants, what's best for you, instead of you thinking what you need.
Awesome. And I don't think you're crazy. That's I
Appreciate
would
it.
think you're crazy if you didn't say that. Just being honest with you. And,
Yeah.
I seriously, I if you didn't put it in that order, I'd be like, I don't know if we should believe this guy. No, I know, but really, no, this is great. This is man. Geez, what do you do now for work? And well, I'll just stop with that. What do you do now for work?
Okay, so now a mixture of things. So two things. We have a company called Ariel's Cozy Crumbs and Vital Squeeze. So I got myself into a situation to where like my diabetes was whipping me, and I couldn't drink nothing besides water. Like, and I love water. Don't get me wrong, but I wanted something different. So I created a lemonade tea drinks, sports drinks called Vital Squeeze, and it's made with stevia extract plants, natural citric acid, water, and natural flavorings, natural coloring. So like our blueberry lemonade, the coloring comes from fresh blueberries. The watermelon, the coloring comes from the watermelon itself. So we have that. And then we have a company, me and my cousin and my buddy have a company called The Guys, and we remodel houses. That's what we did today, actually. I was almost late getting to our interview because I was working on a house next door here to my property, actually. A friend of mine had bought it, and we've been building their house, which it's probably about 2 weeks out from being finished. But we remodel houses, we build houses, we demolition, carpentry, construction. So we kind of do a little bit of it all, but we typically mainly just remodel and build houses.
Awesome. Well, dude, hey, that is incredible. That was one of the questions that how has eating been for you? That was one of the things that I thought was very unique watching your journey just on Facebook. You started eating like liver and like eating certain things that I thought was very unique. How has that been going for you? And can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I did that for there was some of it was biblical, but for the most part, everything was for my health because I had some protein levels in my urine that was 1,400. That's a critical number, and but I had normal functioning kidneys, and the doctor's like, "You got to figure this out, man. This ain't good." So like I started taking my diabetes way more serious. And I started, me and my wife started making meals. And like one of the best things that I can eat for me is fish or liver. And I've always liked liver as a kid because my grandfather used to make it. He used to fry up beef liver with onions, chicken liver with onions. A lot of people say, oh, but I'm like, I like it. I eat some of the weirdest things, dude. But like,
I get it. I reference myself as I'm like an orc. Anything meat. I like steak. I like. It's been a while since I've tried liver, but I tried again.
Brother, I'm with you on the snake tip. I don't like snakes on the food tip. Sorry, I'm tapping out.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no, but really, I thought it was very awesome, dude. Like it seemed. It seemed bare necessity, but it seems like I don't know. I've read something that like fasting like Jesus did is actually healthy for. Not fasting like he did, but eat one time.
It's hard.
Yeah. Sorry to cut you off. You were going.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just answering back. Yeah, you're fine. The fasting thing I've tried. I don't know if you've ever tried it or not, but the longest fast that I did, which is hard for me because I'm a diabetic, so it makes it hard for me to actually fast without getting sick. But I fasted for 3 days, and it did not work out well for my body.
Gotcha.
Because you literally feel like you're just shutting down. And then when you take a drink of water, you can feel or when you ate something, you literally feel as it's going down, it's like your stomach's crawling up trying to attack it. And then when it gets in your stomach, it just, you feel it.
Yeah. Man. Well, and I felt like you preached the gospel a lot on Facebook. I was almost thinking you were a pastor, how much like I see you share and post it. So how did God become that? He should be that important. So, but how did God become that important to you? Like how did that transpire?
It literally all happened about 1.5 years ago. I was losing my mind. I was having a very bad day. I had done some crazy things to a friend. We're not friends no more. Wasn't just my fault. We both were at fault for some things, but I got very angry. He got very angry. Things got very, very physical. To the point where guns had been drawn, and I went inside my home and I was losing my mind. I was breaking things, and my wife looked at me and she said, "You've got to get help, or I'm gone." And I seemed to look in her eye, and that was the biggest slap that I could have ever got. I was like, the woman that I love, the one that you got sober for, is about to leave you because you're being stupid. You're letting anger control you, dummy. And I was like, man. So I hit my knees, and I just looked up and I said, I'm going to try this your way. And I had a light in my bedroom that didn't work the whole time we lived there. Lived there 3 years, it didn't work. Put my hands together, and I got on my knees and I said, God, I said, I give it all to you. I said, I know you're real. I said, I've just been a complete moron. I've been an oxymoron, and I've ran from you. I said, I'm going to do this your way. I give myself to you. I will follow you. Please help me. I don't want to lose my family. I said, God, forgive me of my sins. That light kicked on, bright as can be. My eyes did not open, but I knew it was that light, and I felt like there was just hands on my shoulders, and every hair on my neck and my head stood up. And I said, I feel you. I know you're here. I said, you're real. You're real. You're real. And I mean, the feeling that I get when I feel the Holy Spirit, the feeling I get, best way to describe it. Have you ever been super scared? You see something happen, you're just super scared. You know, you see a crazy car wreck happen with someone you love, but they just step out the vehicle and you're like, that's what I feel every time I feel the Holy Spirit.
I like to actually how I definitively got sober. There was one last night that we were using, and I mean he's conked out. He could sleep on anything when we were using, and I'm laying there racing, feeling like I'm gonna die. My heart's pounding out of my chest, and I was like muttering to myself. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not good. I'm not good." And he's like, "Oh, you know, I'm going to bed." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm having a hard time." So I'm sitting there and I'm praying, like, muttering to myself over and over again, and it was like a warm blanket. It was like somebody came, like when you're in the hospital, they bring you that warm blanket and they lay it on you, and it's that feeling. It literally started from my toes, like it covered me all the way up, and I just went to bed like that.
Yeah.
And that was the last night I used.
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I got baptized, because we got baptized in cold water. It wasn't cold. It felt like a warm blanket hit my whole body. Craziest feeling ever.
Man, I've always thought this was very funny for an entity, a thing, Jesus, God, the Holy Spirit, for being something that don't need to prove a thing to anybody. He sure shows us stuff he don't have to. Like, you know, I'm like, God, show me a sign. There is no reason he has to show me a sign. He don't owe me nothing. I owe him everything, and he still gives me the sign. Like, crazy, you know?
Because it says, brother, the Bible says that a fool will ask for a sign.
Yeah.
But it says the truly faithful will be gifted the sign.
Yeah. Dude, I remember one time, we always say God has a sense of humor.
Are you thinking about the
He does.
God,
He does.
God, I need a hand. God, I really need a hand. I'm struggling. Like I'm saying this out loud. I'm pacing.
We're walking.
I'm just manic. I'm manic beyond repair.
We're walking kind of downtown, a couple blocks from my mom's house. We're walking. Just bad night, right?
Right.
Oh my God. God, just now would be the time. Now would be the time. I need a hand, right? Now would be the time, dude. There's a little doll hand, like I almost like trip over it. Like
you blocks
you know, just
doll hand on the ground.
I'm
He
like,
literally rolls under his foot.
I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, people
I know what you mean. Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, I needed that. That was enough. That was the sign. Like, good enough. Thank you. You know. Man,
I've
been there, man. I've had experiences just like that.
I will start with mine. So, and then I will ask you yours. My favorite scripture is Matthew. I believe it's 6:33. That the wolf doesn't have to worry about his coat. That he knows it's just going to come in. The bird don't worry about the worm because he just knows it's going to be there. So I shall not worry because I have no reason to. Pretty much like the worm or like the bird and the wolf. I totally slaughtered that. That's not how the verse goes at all. But I'm saying all that to ask you what your favorite verse is.
My favorite, I would say. Now I feel like I'm drawing a complete blank on the book, but I will quote it, and it says, "For there is only one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus." And I don't remember. I'm literally drawing a blank right now of what book that's out of, but I know that it's chapter 2, verse 5. And I can't for the life of me remember. But that verse always sticks to me because I always, it says, that we can't know God without Jesus. Like Jesus is the way to heaven. And the thing is with me though, my prayer is crazy because I tell God, I'm like, God, I don't want to make it to heaven if I can't learn how to serve you here. I don't deserve it. If I can't serve you here, send me to hell. I don't deserve you. And I fight every day with trying to do better because I don't deserve him if I can't. I only deserve his gift if I can truly follow him. So I struggle with that. I'm like, man, show me what I need to do.
Well, that would have been in poor taste. I used to make a joke because I'm Catholic. I said, well, if you're not guilty, you're really not Catholic. If you're not feeling the guilt, you're really not Catholic. but the way you're feeling quite clearly just radiates. You're quite clearly a follower of God. Because if you weren't, you wouldn't be worried about it. So
I get scared all the time, dude. Like I get scared all the time if I'm doing things right because I don't want to just I don't want to make it to heaven just to have eternal life. I want to learn how to praise him here because what's it worth me going there to praise him if I can't praise him now?
I was told that I'm also gonna slaughter what I was told,
Yeah.
but a lot of people think that prayer is asking God for things when a lot of time prayer should be thanking God for things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of
it's
people
not
complain.
Lord,
A lot of people pray
it's not
about like
Lord
God.
forgive me. It's Lord help
Yeah.
me. Yeah, or whatever. It's like yeah.
I've caught myself very recently with a couple bills being like, God, please help me figure this out. And then I stopped and I was like, you know what? God, thank you for the fact that I even have these bills. That sounds
Yeah.
crazy. Thank you
Yeah.
for the fact that I have the opportunity to have electric in my home to have to pay for.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that don't got electricity.
Right? Or thank you for the fact that I'm so stressed because how busy I am that I have the availability to be able to do the things that we're doing, you know?
I could be doing nothing at all with my life ever, but he's made a way for me. So
Yeah, no, that is, I say this 1,000 times because right now I'm running a business. I'm working at Home and New Vision now, helping people recover. I'm doing the podcast. I have a full plate. I said, man, I said, I prayed to eat. How the hell can I complain about a full plate? I prayed to eat, so I have to remind myself that at the 10 o'clock nights that I want to quit. I ain't allowed to. I just ain't allowed to.
And if you're not if you're complaining about having a full plate, at least you're not complaining about the food.
No, but brother, I wish we could go another 2 hours. Like seriously, this is
good,
great.
man. I understand.
Maybe in the future we could find a topic and discuss it. I do enjoy re-inviting people we hit it off with.
I'd love to be back on again, bro. I'd love to be back on again,
dude. So our wrap-up questions are the same for every guest. It's how we keep this the same. It's how we keep from all different walks of life. A central, whatever, is there anything we missed? Is there anything you wanted to share that I didn't ask?
No, I think we pretty much covered a lot of good stuff. So
right on. And like I said, I know clearly we can't get to everything, but some people, when they come on, I know they, a lot of people are like, oh, I get to tell my story. They have something they want to talk about. So I'd like to make sure I got that, whatever they were thinking they wanted to talk about out. So awesome. What's your definition of success? What's your definition of success?
What does success mean to you?
Success means to me, and this is going with everything that I've learned in life recently, success is being rich in love, not money. Money does not make you rich. To love people, to forgive people that you thought you'd never forgive. That is success because you're giving true love. And as the last commandment that Jesus gave to his disciples, he said, I give you one final commandment. Love people as I loved you. If that's the final commandment, we better follow it.
Yeah. Awesome. That's my wrap-up questions, my friend. Now,
Beautiful. What does legacy mean to you?
Legacy? A lot of people would say, a legacy is carrying out a good name or carrying out a good production. Legacy to me is a good legacy, I think, to live by, something that people should have a legacy to do. And this is just being real, is to not only teach your kids at the youngest age possible about how to be good to people in general, but to follow Christ, but to be loving. That should be a legacy, to teach your kids, to teach everyone to live by that legacy. Because if more people would, the world would be such a very better place.
If you had one word to describe your entire journey from where you started to where you will be, it has to be one word and it has to be a real word. What would that word be?
Blessed.
If you now met younger you, would you get along with him and vice versa? Would he get along with you?
If I met younger me right now, younger me would try to fight me. But this me would hold him with the firmest hug possible and tell him, you got to stop. Got to stop. That's what I would, that's absolutely what happened. I would do my best to teach me, the younger me, that there's so much more to life I would have told him to found Christ then.
Mhm.
Thank you, James. I can't thank you enough. We will cut this off. We'll leave the studio, but I'll stay in touch on Facebook. Can discuss
Awesome, brother.
stuff into further. Seriously, thank you, man. I do want to reiterate, like, I have been following you for quite some time. Like, I
appreciate it.
I love. I don't know how I stumbled across you. Jackson County, Ohio. Maybe it's Jackson County, Michigan. Maybe there was some like weird stuff in the internet. I found you.
I don't know.
I really
I believe everything
enjoyed-
happens for a reason, though. I don't believe in coincidence.
No,
God makes
dude.
everything happen for something.
Dude, I enjoyed your stuff though. I seen you not first finding God, but it seemed like that. It seemed like you were, posting a lot of religious stuff. If you need a Bible, I'll send you a Bible. And then I don't know. I just got enthralled with it. So seriously, thank you for making this happen for us. So we'll cut this out. And thank you, and we'll stay in touch, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Hope you have a great evening.
Bless you. Have a great night.
Yep.
All right.
You
Thanks
too.
for watching, guys.
Oh, yeah, we're pointing towards the wrong camera.